Good afternoon, everyone. We are excited to kick off 2020 with a brand new webinar series, the Mercury POS How-To Webinar Series. Today's webinar topic is the delivery module and mobile app. With delivery being the final step to create an exceptional customer experience, marking orders delivered in Mercury is very important. FTD Training and Implementation Specialist Jennifer Toliao will be leading today's webinar. She has spent the last 14 years as an installer and trainer for FTD. During this webinar, Jennifer will demonstrate several ways to confirm the delivery of orders using the delivery module, the dashboard, and the Mercury Mobile App. She will also show us how to create delivery routes for your drivers to promote better efficiency. If you have a question during the webinar, simply type it in that question box on the upper right side of your screen. We will stop for questions a few times throughout the webinar, so be sure to enter them during the webinar. So without further ado, I'd like to turn the call over to Jennifer to begin the webinar. Jennifer?
Thank you, Janet, for your kind introduction. Hello, everyone, and thanks for attending this afternoon's webinar. I'm really excited to be here. I've gone to over about 600 shops within the last 14 years, some of them twice, and sometimes on holidays, so I know how hectic it can get. With Valentine's quickly approaching, I know how important deliveries are for you. We will go through a few slides, and I'll dial into my test shop so that you can see how to do them. And if you have any questions, please make a note of it and we'll go over them after each section. So let's get started. There are several ways you can mark your orders delivered in the Mercury system. You can use the delivery module to route your orders and do a truck return. You can use the mobile app that lets you mark orders in real time with pictures and signatures. And you can also use the dashboard to quickly display current non-delivered items for the day and to mark them delivered. So I will dial into my test box so you guys can see it and how it looks like on your end. So in order for you to use a delivery module, you have to be licensed for it. We'll go through the routing process and do a truck return. So the first thing you have to do, this is your main page of your Mercury system, is click on the delivery button. This will open the delivery module and display all the orders that are currently in your system. So when you want to route your orders, I have entered several orders in here. So depending on how many zones you have for your shop, it'll be displayed here if there's an order in those zones for that you have. And you can tell if there are any or if there's none. Now, what I like to do is I like to select all the zones. You can definitely select each zone one at a time if you want to route it that way, but I like selecting all of them. So click on Create Routes after you select it. So it will show you if there's any addresses that are that can't be found, or if it hasn't verified that address. The system will know that that address is kind of invalid. Now, there are several ways you can create your routes on your deliveries. One of the ways is to grab the order number on the left side of your screen, and you can drag that number all the way down to the bottom area, the bottom gray area. When you do that, it puts that address into your route. You can also drop the whole zone. So, like for instance, this zone in Lakewood, if I drop that down, that will display those 3 orders and into my route. Another way of doing it is, I'll remove those, is by selecting your zones or that area you want. You can circle that area you want to deliver to. So you can use this polygon or this scribble. I like to use the polygon, and we'll just circle this area right here. So my one driver can take that area. And if I click on Add to Route, this button here, it will take all of those orders in that one area and puts it into your route. Now, if you notice, I'm going from 1 and 7 is my shop. So I'm going and I'm bouncing in random places throughout the map. You can optimize this delivery zone or this delivery route by clicking on the Optimize button. And you have two options. One is the quickest path, which will take the highways, and one is the shortest path, which may go through city streets. So we'll route it for the quickest path, and we'll click OK. It says it may take several minutes, but it usually doesn't. So yes, I wish to continue. Now, if you look, it's taking me in a big circle. So I'm going to this for the first stop is number 2, which is 1 for Nicole. It goes to 3, 4, 5, 6, and then back to 7, which is my shop. Once you've routed everything, you go to complete. And this is where you can choose your driver. If you have multiple drivers in the system, you can select that driver. We'll select Sam as our driver. It's good to put a driver in because if you use the delivery module with the mobile app, the driver only sees their routes. So you can have your, if they follow this and you print the manifest, they can go through the orders, which is in steps in the manifest, and be able to see the route for Sam or whoever your driver may be. So we'll press complete on that. And it's going to say, do you want to print? And you just click OK. So once that's done, it will take you back to the main delivery snapshot screen. And now, since those orders are now completed into a route, the system knows that it's going to be on the truck. So all those orders are now on the truck. Okay. So the driver delivers all the orders, and now they come back and they have the manifest with them, and they said they've delivered certain orders. Now you have to mark them delivered. So to mark them delivered in the mobile app or in the delivery module, which is still this little button here that says delivery, you click on truck return in the top left. Now it has several routes in here. So we'll use route 3 that has the 5 orders that haven't been delivered yet or marked delivered yet. So we click on details. So if you see all of these, you can see that all of these orders are in there. You can definitely mark them delivered from here. So you can say, okay, this one was delivered, and it will do a timestamp of now. You can change this to when it was actually delivered if you want, and if you have any notes for it. Or if, say, you didn't deliver it and you wanted to, and so you try to go to that address and nobody was there, and you click on non-delivered. The system lets you decide what you want to do to it next. Would you like to deliver it today? By clicking deliver today, that will put this order back into the queue of orders that need to be routed and marked delivered. You can redeliver it on a different day by clicking on that. That changes the delivery date of the order and then puts it onto whatever date you want to you want to deliver for. And now there's another button called follow up order. When you follow up on the order, it will actually pull it and put it into a follow-up list for non-delivered orders. So I'll put follow-up on that one. And once I click OK and save this, and I get out of here, so I'll save that. I'll escape that. See the button at the very top where it says follow-up deliveries? It was green before, and now it is red and circling. So if you click on that, it'll show you, okay, there's this order that we have to follow up on. At this point, you can leave it there until you call the customer and say, hey, what do you want us to do with this? If not, you can click on non-delivered, and you can redeliver today and click on OK if that's what the customer says, that they want it redelivered today. And it was saved, so I'll escape from there. And now, if you see, the follow-up deliveries is no longer red. It's all the follow-up deliveries have been taken care of. And then when you are done with that, you press escape. So that's the end of the delivery module. Does anyone have any questions?
All right, guys, as Jennifer just mentioned, we're going to open it up for questions, our first set of questions. Anything on the delivery module and creating the truck routes for your deliveries. And we do have a question from Zach. He said, how do I add a driver into my system?
Okay, Zach, when you add a driver into the system, you have to have admin settings and you have to go into Mercury and then administration down here. So tools, Mercury administration, and you will go to employees and employees again. You will then, this is all the employees that's in your system. So what you would do is right click, new employee. Do you want to add a new employee? Say yes. That puts a new people head right there. So double click on that new employee and you type in who your employee will be. So if I want to be me in there, you'd have to have a login name and a password. Now, if you guys have temporary drivers for the holidays, you can also, instead of name as your employee name that you have temporarily, you can have driver one. You can make sure they log in as driver one. And you can have a password for them. The password is case sensitive, so 123 or 1234 will be good, or anything that you want to choose for their password. Under job function, make sure they're set to truck driver, especially if they are a temporary employee for the season, because that way they only have access to the delivery, the stuff for delivery in your system, and you're not having to let them see any reports or anything like that, change customers information, things like that. So they will only have access to their the truck driver access. And then once you do that and you click apply, they are now part of your employee, and you would have to close everything, and then a little message here that says, hey, you've made changes into your Mercury system. You have to close Mercury and for it to take effect. And you say yes. Let me get out of the dashboard because that pops up. And once you log in, and if I do driver one and put their login, they'll be able to access it, but they won't be able to access all of the back end reporting stuff if they're set to that. They should be able to go on their delivery and create their routes and do whatever they need to do on that end. Does that help? Does that answer
All
your
right.
question?
Yeah, Jen, we've got more questions. We need to keep moving on. Mason has
Okay.
a question. If you mark it redelivered for a different day, does it give you the option to reroute it that day?
Yes. So once you say you wanted to redeliver, so if I change one of those to redeliver tomorrow, that order will pop up for tomorrow's orders to be delivered.
All right, we've got a question from Harry. When they select a different date in the truck return, does it send the date change to Mercury? And if not, how does it sync which orders are delivered or not?
So it depends. So like if an order is for tomorrow and you mark it delivered for today, it takes the time stamp of when you mark it delivered. So it doesn't matter if it needs to be delivered tomorrow, you marked it delivered today, the system will know it's been delivered today. Now, if it's when you mark it delivered. So say the order was for yesterday, you mark it today, the system will know you marked it today.
All right, John, I think this is the same question that you just answered. If the driver's unable to deliver and they change the date in the delivery module, is that send an auto message to FTD? Is that the same question?
No, it doesn't send an auto message to FTD, you'd still need to send an ask to FTD saying, hey, we couldn't deliver this. Can we deliver tomorrow?
All right. And Dolly said, with the holiday and so many orders, what's the best way to route or combine zones?
Okay, so you can definitely click on the top left corner where where it auto selects all of the zones, and do like what I did where I circled the area I want the driver to go. But also, if you guys are using this and you're designing it and marking it designed, if there's a button at the top left corner that says designed orders only, which means in your Mercury system, this button that says designer that shows everything that needs to be designed or delivered today, if you mark these designed, and we'll just make up status designed, what happens is some of these will actually, depending on who it is and who designs it. Here, I'll mark some of these designed. Once I close it and I open it back up, those orders won't be in here anymore. So it's basically a checklist for you for the day that, you know, all of your orders, whether they're designed or not and ready to go. That also lets the driver know, hey, you guys can take that order. So if you go to delivery and you click on designed orders, only those orders that I marked designed will be in here that's ready to go to be delivered. So if you want to do it that way before you create your zone, so your drivers are not waiting for those orders to be made, I would definitely do the designed orders only. And again, if you want multiple zones, just put a check on that box and click create routes, and all of those orders, like, well, I put the other order already in the other route, so this is the only one that's not routed. That's why it's there. And and again, you can just click on the polygon and there's scribble and circle a wider area if you wanted. But that's how you would combine the zones.
All right. Michelle wants to know, how do you set your shop's origin?
Okay. So when you're routing, there's a button at the bottom that says origin. Oh, I can't route it, so I'll drop this here first and click on origin. And it'll pick up the address of where your shop is. So my Mercury Flower shop is going to be, which is that one right there, is where it's going to originate from. So it's going to pull from your address in Mercury Admin. And then once you click OK, and that's where it is. And if you want to originate from, say you have a design center somewhere else, you can put the design center address and it'll go from there. Does that answer your question?
All right. Yep, that's good. We are going to, just for time's sake, because we still have a couple more, we're going to move on, and then we can hold those till the end. So if you want to continue on, Jen.
Okay. So I will show you guys the way. So I'll open up my my phone so you guys can see what I'm looking at. With this wonderful world of technology, I can do this where I can mirror what is on my phone. And you can see everything that's displayed on my phone. But unfortunately, at the bottom, it'll say Power Mirror, which is the company's mirroring software that I downloaded. Unfortunately, it's a place where the send button is on my phone. So the send button is always around here in this bottom area. Now, when you this mobile app, the Mercury Mobile App, is where you can mark your orders delivered in real time. You can take pictures and have your recipient sign for your orders there. But you do have to download the Mercury Mobile App Plus from your app store. And in order for you to use it, you have to be licensed for the mobile app and have the credentials entered into your phone. So the credentials, which are these top portion up here, which is your account ID, user account ID and the account password. Those credentials will be provided to you if you don't already have them from FTD. So give support a call for those credentials. And also the license, again, you have to have the license for it to be able to use it. So, and also at the bottom where I'm logged in as admin, depending on who is logged in, since I'm admin, I'll be able to see everything. For your drivers, so if I put Sam in here and I put his password and save it, the drivers can only see their route, and I'll show you that in a few minutes. So you can confirm your orders in several ways from this mobile app. So you can do it from the dashboard, from the order detail, from the routing detail screen, and by the confirm button, which is that one. But first one we'll go over is how to confirm your orders from this undelivered orders screen, which is this one. Now, these are all the orders that's in the system that needs to be marked delivered. Some of them are routed because I put them in the route, and some of them are just haven't been marked delivered yet. So the easiest way to do it is just putting a check mark on it and then going at the bottom. And again, I apologize. It's down here where it says send below the delivered and right behind the power mirror screen. Down there is where you would press send, and once that is sent, it takes it out of your list. So that order is no longer here. It's been marked delivered. And it takes there's a 5-minute polling on these orders. So your system at the shop will be notified that that order has been delivered. Now, another way to mark your orders delivered is through the order screen. So if I click on, say, Kelly Belly down here. So this is Kelly, the recipient, and this is all her information about that order. This is where if you were actually delivering it and you get Kelly's signature, you can put it in there, and I'll put Kelly as who signed for it. And then I'll save this. So you can have your recipient sign for the order once you deliver it. You can also take a picture of the arrangement. So if you were to take a picture, say you're going to drop it off and you're going to leave it on somebody's porch, step back away from the porch so you can see part of the door, part of the place, or the mat, the floor mat. Or if you were to deliver it at the nurse's station or reception desk, make sure you step away from the flowers, the arrangement, so you can see the background of where it's delivered, and then take a picture of it. And I'll use that photo. So now, if you can see, those two are grayed out. So now I know that there's a signature and I took a picture of it. And then the delivery code already is automatically set to delivered. So if I press send, that sends the server the picture and the signature and lets the system know that that order has been delivered. Another way to confirm a delivery is on the order details, is on the routing screen. So if I was a driver, and I'll change my setting to Sam, who's my driver, and I put their password on there. So Sam had 2 routes. The route 3 is the one that that I had in here, or that we just routed. And if you look on here is a little compass by, say here, this one right here. If you click on that, you'll be able to see the customer information there, but you have to click on if you click on the little compass, it actually shows you where the location is of that order. Since I'm at FTD headquarters, the truck is here in Chicago, and my fake shop is somewhere in Cleveland, so that's where the recipient address is. It's closer to there. Right now, currently, I'm 358 miles away from that recipient, but if you click on directions on the top right here, you'll be able to see the directions from where I am all the way down to that Parkwood address in Lakewood. So if you have a driver who says they don't have a GPS, well, now it's on their phone and you can use it that way. Again, you can do a signature and take a picture if you wanted to. Otherwise, you can just click on that and press send. And that will, since that's the driver, it'll be able to mark that order delivered and mark it delivered also. Another way of marking orders delivered is this confirm button at the bottom. So all of these buttons, the confirm one is right next to the setting button. And this is where you can just type in an order number. All the orders have order numbers. So this can get really tedious because you're typing a lot more. And you're only as good as what you see. So sometimes I can't even see those order numbers. Just be careful of your numbers. You might be, if you mistype it, you're probably going to mark someone else's order delivered. So just make sure you know that. And then you just press send and it sends it out. Okay, that ends our mobile app portion. Does anyone have any questions?
All right, we're going to open it up for questions on the mobile app. We do have a question from Karen. She wanted to know, can anyone else besides the admin and the drivers use the app? She said sometimes her driver or her designer will deliver an arrangement on her way home.
Good question. Okay, so anybody can definitely mark an order delivered. Just make sure the setting for whoever the driver is or the designer, make sure they know what their login name and their password is. And by doing that, they'll be, and when you route it, make sure you route it with their name so that they can see that route themselves on here. There's been times where the designer does everything anyways that the owners or managers know, so they have admin settings. Make sure if you change them to admin settings, they'll be able to see the whole dashboard like I was when I was entered in here as admin.
All right, great. We've got a question from Mason. Can you add pictures to an order from the store through the app before delivery for the records?
Say that again?
He wants to know if you can add a picture to an order from the store through the app. So
yes.
like if the designer takes a picture and does it go in before it gets delivered?
Yes, you don't necessarily have to mark it delivered right then and there. So you can definitely take a picture of it. And then the system saves it anyway.
All right. Richard is asking if your beginning mileage is recorded wrong, where do you correct it?
That part is going to be in the delivery module itself. And a lot of people don't see it. Let me escape from here. Guess I want to lose what I've entered. Oh, no, I don't want to escape it. Okay, so under, I think it's under tools and truck return, you can actually default your system settings from here. So if I have required mileage, it'll ask me when I'm going back to my truck return what my mileage should be, and it should be set right here. So like for this one, I can put the starting mileage and my end mileage here as well. So I'll click on details. So you'll be able to see it, but you won't be able to see it from this portion.
All right. Kate is asking, is there more than one version of the Mercury app? And if so, what are the differences?
Right now, we only have the Mercury app Plus because everybody's already in Mercury X4 and above. So way back when we first created the app, that version is no longer available in the App Store. The newest one is available. So, and that works for X4 and up until now, and we're on X8.
All right, great. Sherry has a couple of questions here. For a small shop, if you take a photo earlier and then forget to take a photo when it's being delivered, is there a way to grab a photo of it from the photo gallery instead of the real time?
Well, that part is if you have a webcam at your store that takes, or a camera at your store that you take pictures before the orders go out. And there are a lot of shops that have done that. For every order that they send out, they take a picture of it before it even goes into the delivery van. Those are part of the order itself. So what I'm talking about is if you go to the order, any order, I'll look up one up. There's a button here for pictures, and that's where, if you have a camera, you can attach that picture to this order, but using that camera. Or if you had that webcam, you can actually attach the webcam onto this computer and just click on camera view and be able to see what's on that camera view and take a picture of it, and then it's saved to this order.
Okay, great. Harry's asking, is the picture taken on the phone app stored and accessible on the Mercury server, or else, is that so that you can prove delivery if a customer is questioning it?
Yes, and we'll go over that towards the end, and I'll show you how to do that.
All right. Laura is asking, how does it work when one driver is shared by multiple stores and they're logging in and out? Is that,
the credentials on your mobile app, remember I said the account ID, they have to have your shop's account ID for them to only see their route, what's on their route. If they have another shop's ID, nothing will work because all of their credentials is tied into each shop has their own credentials.
Okay, great. Looks like we're ready to move on then, Jen.
Okay. Okay, so we will go through the dashboard. This dashboard there's no license needed. So you'll be able to mark orders delivered. You don't need any special licensing. You do have to make sure it's activated if it's not already activated. So if you want to activate it, there's two things you need to do. One is to go through Tools, Mercury Administration. Oh, I was logged in as my driver one, so now I'll log in as me. So you'd have to go to Tools, Mercury Administration, System, and Advanced Settings. So if you click on this, make sure this checkbox is enabled, and then apply it. And if it is checked and you still don't see it, you can click on Tools, Settings. Oh, let me just log out as me instead of my driver. This is where it's good to know what settings, that the settings are working depending on your login. So again, Tools, Settings, and make sure this button right here where it says Display Dashboard is set. That way, when you open up Mercury, the dashboard pops up down here. So here's the dashboard. So the dashboard, you can see everything that needs to be marked delivered today. We've marked several orders delivered, so now there's only 6 orders that's left. It will always default to today's date. So you won't be able to see if you have 100 orders in there and they're for different days, you won't see those orders here. You'll only be able to see the 6. So when you click on this and you click on undelivered orders, it will display the ticket search. And since this one we said it wasn't delivered, it's still set to not delivered up here. But everything else, these haven't been marked delivered. So if you want, you can mark it delivered from here by clicking on, highlighting the order, clicking on the arrow next to delivery, and click delivered. By changing that, when I go back into the system, so if I close this and I go back to the dashboard, and even though it says 6, because it takes a few minutes to update and refresh, there's only 5, and that one that I just marked delivered is no longer there. This is one of the fastest ways to do it. So once your orders are marked delivered, whether it's from the delivery module, the mobile app, or from here, from this dashboard, several things happen. First thing is FTD, your DELCONs, if those were FTD orders, the DELCONs will automatically get sent out. Another thing that will happen is if those orders have an email address associated that said, hey, the customer wanted a delivery confirmation email, those automatically get sent out. And a third thing that happens is in that order, so all those orders, if I look up the ticket and these orders that I marked as delivered, so one of them, which I took a picture of, I think was Kelly. So if I look up this order, and if I look up status, her order life cycle gets updated. So I created this order on the 22nd. Here, it printed, I routed it, it's marked delivered, and it's in blue. The reason why it's in blue is because I marked it delivered on the mobile app, and that's what it tells you. It was marked delivered by the mobile app. Now, if you click on it, it actually it displays Google Earth of where you marked the order delivered. So for me, again, I'm in Chicago. The address is down here in Cleveland area. And it's funny, there's a shop that had a driver mark all of his orders delivered when he was getting lunch at McDonald's. So it showed that he was at McDonald's because it takes a Google Earth picture of it. And another thing that happens is you'll be able to see the picture of that delivery. So if it was in somebody's front porch or at the desk or whatever you may be dropping that order, it'll be in here. And whoever signed for it will be in here. Their signature bar will be there as well. So I guess that's one of the things that somebody asked about, how can I see? Well, if you look up this order from, 10 or 20 days or a couple of years from now, you'll be able to see it because this information gets stored into your server. So that was the last thing. Does anyone have any questions?
All right, thanks, Jennifer. We are opening it up for questions on the dashboard, and if we have time, we can go back to those last couple of questions from earlier. We do have a question. Erin said, what happens if her dashboard disappears?
Okay, so when your dashboard disappears, meaning when you open up Mercury and at some point you've closed your dashboard. So say this dashboard right here,
I think
somebody closed it. Okay, so your dashboard is no longer down here and you can't see it. There's a few things you can do. There's a button here. You double click on it, that will open up the dashboard. But if you're already in Mercury and you don't feel like opening that up, if you go to Tools, Dashboard, that will open it up again.
All right, great. Mason is asking, when I take a picture in the app without doing a delivery confirmation, where do I see it in Mercury?
So that's where, if you look up the order, so you haven't marked, you will only be able to see it once it's marked delivered. You could take a picture of it before And because what happens is your phone is the one telling the system, hey, it's been delivered. Here's the link to my delivery information. So they have to be marked delivered first before the system can see it. Because what happens is when that that message pops through, that's why you'll be able to see that link in the status page. So let's see. I think this one was. So you'll be able to see it here. The only time, because it'll say mark delivered by and the information, that your phone won't send that message to the server until you send that delivery confirmation out saying that it's been marked delivered.
All right, we've got a question from Mike. Does the sender get the picture with the delivery confirmation?
No, they will not. But you can send them this link and they'll be able to see it.
All right. Is there a way to force, this is from Harry, is there a way to force the dashboard to refresh the numbers, the delivered, etc.? They can do it with the up-down arrows on Mercury, but not on the dashboard. And he doesn't like relying on the dashboard.
Yeah, because there's a 5-minute time frame when it just sits there and doesn't do much. The only way to do it is wait for it to refresh within the 5 minutes. We have that set in the back end.
All right. We've we'll take a couple more minutes. We've got a couple of questions back from the delivery and routing. Mason was asking if we route an area to a driver and there are some that were not home, I mark it not delivered and retry today or tomorrow. But if the customer is checked for delivery confirmation, will they receive one then as well? And then when he goes back later and reroutes and confirms, do they get a second email?
They'll only get an email when the delivery is actually confirmed.
All right, we've got another question from Harry. Can he create a morning route for a driver and also build an afternoon route for that same driver, different zone? And
yes.
Yes, he said, can you show us how?
Okay, so when you're doing that, so like for instance, Sam had a drive. I sent Sam off with a whole bunch of deliveries already. So I go back to the delivery module and it's afternoon, so I'll select all of these. The only one that's left to be routed are the ones that's not already on the truck, nor are they delivered. So all of these that are not delivered will be the only ones that will be displayed. So if you click on create routes, then you select all of those. See, now there's only 3 left. My one without address. So now they're all everywhere. So if you look at your map, there's one down here. They're just spread out. So, and that one is ready to go. So what you would then do is basically you can say, okay, I'll just let him take these ones that's left. And you can do it that way, and you can just drop it down. And that would, when you create another one, so we'll say this is complete, and we can put the same driver on this one. So now when he sees it, and we'll complete that, click OK. On the back end, he'll have 2 routes now. Yes, my address doesn't exist. Okay, so when you go to truck return, see now there's a route 4. We had 3 before, so now there's 3 remaining here. So they can definitely have multiple routes for the same driver.
Great. We've got a question from Richard. If you have only one store, is there a setting to set the origin only once?
Yes, so once you set the origin for the first route you've ever taken, that stays as your original origin. So like when I created that last route, the origin was always still that one address unless you change it. So that origin address stays the same.
All right. Thanks, Jennifer. It looks like we're out of questions for today. Go ahead and put up that last screen on the PowerPoint with the phone number for everybody. If you have any questions, a phone number for Mercury support will be on there, so please call in. We're happy to answer any questions for you guys. And we just want to thank everybody for attending today's webinar. If you missed a portion of the webinar, you want to review it again, I know Jennifer covered a lot of information. A recording will be available on the FTD Mercury Network Florist YouTube channel later this week. A PDF with step-by-step instructions will also be available to download on FTDI as well. We'll also be sending you guys a very brief survey to gather your feedback on today's webinar. We'd ask you to please take a minute or two to complete the survey and help us improve future webinars for you. Our next Mercury POS webinar is scheduled for Wednesday, April 29th. Jennifer will be reviewing the Florist Directory Administration in Mercury POS. So you'll learn how to set your own holiday capacity, product pricing, and directory listing, as well as how to control how your shop appears in FTD Florist Link. The registration is already available at ftdi.com, so be sure to register as soon as possible and reserve your spot today. Jennifer, thank you for sharing a lot of great information about marking our orders delivered in Mercury. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for
Everyone,
having me.
this concludes today's webinar on the delivery module and Mercury Mobile App. Thank you, everyone.